The one play that highlights Boston's obsession with getting Jayson Tatum the ball, even when he doesn't need it down the stretch. I'll show that to you. And does Dejounte Murray coming back hurt the Hawks? We'll talk about that and more right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Boston, baby, we do what you can't. Locked on number 18, Tatum and Brown, J-team, step back. We gon' wet that and slay teams. Of course, the Celtics, who else could it be? Screaming like KG with the Larry O.B. Karalis above average, assessing the team status. Best daily pod, no cap, salary matching. Clutch like Bird the DJ, keep John on replay. Prime time, dapping up the truth on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. B.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and I'm here for you every day with a free, fresh podcast dropped directly to your device if you're a subscriber. So whichever app you use, go ahead and subscribe to this podcast. If you're a new listener, welcome aboard. Regular listeners, thank you so much for being part of the show. Atlanta Hawks fans, yeah, I see you. Go ahead, get all your yelling out and in the comment section on the YouTube page. Everyone else, if you want to hop in there and defend the show's honor and the Celtics honor in the YouTube comment section, go for it. I'm John Karalis. I used to play once upon a time, and now I cover the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. Later on, we'll talk about the Celtics and still their path to the East, which continues to be, this is still a golden opportunity for them. So we cannot lose sight of this, and they cannot lose sight of that. Dejounte Murray is coming back. He had an interesting reaction to getting to play one more game. His season is not over. We'll talk about that next. But let me bring Tom Westerholm in to start our conversation about the last 6-minute offense. And just, I think the overarching thing, Tom, is stop looking for Jayson Tatum like he's the only good player on the team. First of all, hi, Tom. How are you?
You know, I just feel so correct. You know, we predicted Celtics in 6. We really said the Hawks were going to be a tough matchup for the Celtics. We've had nothing but respect for the Hawks this whole time.
Completely.
Realistically,
Trae Young is just such an amazing player.
I personally, he competes so hard on the defensive end.
I just love. He overcomes every little thing.
I like being right the way we've been right for this. You know, I like. No, I'm good, man.
All right, so we were talking about this before the game, and we hit on something. The Celtics, for some reason, when we're all trying to figure out what happens in the last few minutes of these games where the offense stagnates, where things start to fall apart. What's the difference? I literally asked Jaylen Brown. He did not answer my question directly. What's the difference between
you had a couple of those yesterday? Like you asked
two direct questions
that just got
sidestepped. Yeah. Euro stepped around those questions. I asked him what the difference is between 40 minutes or 42 minutes of great, really great offense and then 6 minutes of crap offense. I didn't say crap. I should have. But he just didn't. There's no difference. There absolutely is a difference.
Right. And
I think what we hit on is the Celtics continue to only look for Jayson Tatum. And we say, well, Jayson Tatum he starts to take over. He tries to take over down the stretch. And yeah, he shouldn't. But I think the Celtics go overboard. This is a team with a bunch of really good players. And we talk about their depth and how good they are across the board and how many different guys can score and how many different guys can do a bunch of different things. And yet, when it comes time to close a game, they start saying, okay, here's Jayson Tatum. Everybody, we're just going to get out of his way. Why? I know he's the best player on the team, and some people might debate that, but the strength of this team is not everything runs through Jayson. The strength of this team is ball movement and cutting and all of that stuff, and they get away from that to play this, I don't know, do they think they're supposed to play superstar basketball, and that's why they do it? I don't get it.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things with that. The first one, I do wonder if sometimes, like, Tatum gets the ball, and especially late in the game, he does draw a lot of double teams, right? And maybe that's part of it, is kind of waiting for that double team to come and then kind of create that advantage. And then, because Tatum has shown over and over this season that when he gets the double team, he usually makes the right play out of double teams. Like he he's a very willing passer in those situations. So maybe that's part of what they're waiting for. But, like the larger point is that when the Celtics put this team together in the offseason, right, when they went out and got Malcolm Brogdon last year, when they went and got Derek White, the team that they have put together is built to withstand the times when Jayson Tatum gets a little streaky, because that does happen to him. This is not the first time that Tatum has gone 8 for 21. Honestly, this happened last year during the playoffs, and it was a big issue. And the Celtics, didn't have enough depth. Like, we saw guys who probably shouldn't have been trying to, step up and take bigger roles, having to step up and try to take bigger scoring roles. This year's team is built to not have to do that. This year's team has Malcolm Brogdon. It has Derek White. It has, Al Horford shooting like 45% until he got to the playoffs, because now for some reason he doesn't want to shoot anymore. Like they have all these guys. And of course they have Jaylen Brown, right? Who had, the first 3 quarters of yesterday's game were like one of the best games I've seen from him in months. And he's had a good few months. Like, he was utterly dominant for like 3 quarters. Like, they have plenty of other guys, lots of other guys who can pick up the slack in these moments. And you're right. Like, we see it often just kind of devolve into, okay, now it's Tatum time. And that doesn't have to happen. This team is like, that can happen when Tatum is cooking, but
sure.
That, he was 1 for 10 yesterday. You said it on yesterday's spot. He was like 1 for 5. And at some point when you're 1 for 5, why are you then 1 for 6, 1 for 7, 1 for 8, 1 for 9, 1 for 10? Nobody on this team, with no exceptions, not a single player on this team can stay in front of you, including DeAndre Hunter. Baffling decisions.
Attack.
Attack.
I'm going to share a play here. So this is something you want to see on the YouTube page, but I will talk you through it if you're listening on the audio side. It's a play that happened with a couple minutes to go in the game, and this is, I think, an exact idea of what I'm talking about here. So people on the YouTube page can see. This is a little bit behind where the play starts. I'm going to mute it. So this is the Trae Young misses the shot, and here come the Celtics, right? Marcus Smart gets the ball, and it's coming up the right side. I'm going to stop it right here. This is a scenario where, okay, if you're just listening, Jayson Tatum is not in the picture yet. Marcus Smart has it basically right above the right elbow. Al Horford is in the right corner. Jaylen Brown is spaced out to the left corner, and Robert Williams is heading to the dunker spot. This is a very advantageous situation for the Celtics. Marcus Smart being guarded by Trae Young, just go by him. Just drive by him, because you can drive by him, right?
For anybody not watching, there is a lot of space behind Trae Young, a lot of space to the right. Like, there's a lot of room for Smart to do
the entire lane is wide open. So option number 1, just drive by him and get a layup. All right. So let's just say if he doesn't drive by and get a layup, what are the other options? John Collins, who is guarding Al Horford in the right corner, collapses in, and you got a Al Horford corner 3-pointer. I know that he hasn't been shooting them and hasn't been shooting them well, but an Al Horford corner 3-pointer on a drive and kick is a good shot.
Statistically, a phenomenal shot.
Right. The other option, Onyeka Okongwu is guarding Robert Williams over there on the left side, dunker spot right on the block. Okongwu has 1 foot just outside the charge circle. If Marcus drives, there's a good chance that all 3 of those guys are going to collapse. If he gets into the middle of the lane, which is wide open, if he gets to that charge circle, then all 3 Hawks are going to be on top of Smart, and he has his choice. Bogdanovich is out of the play. He's going to sit there and play too close to Jaylen Brown. Throw the lob to Robert Williams. It's 113-111 with 155 left. This is an opportunity to get an easy bucket. Throw the lob to Robert Williams when you drive, or lay the ball in, or get it to Al Horford for a corner 3, which is statistically a great shot. What does he do?
Also, like two days ago, Robert Williams said that easily the best lob thrower on the team is Marcus Smart.
Marcus Smart, 100%. Like they have a thing.
Yep.
So what does Marcus do? Dribbles, gets it out to, desperately looks for Tatum. Desperately looks for Tatum at the top of the key.
He was in a hurry to get that ball to Jayson.
I don't understand. Then he goes to set a pick and illegal screen on DeAndre Hunter, turnover. That play is exactly what I'm talking about. That play is Marcus Smart, your point guard, not just, that was a bad foul. That was just a horrible decision. And this desperation to get it to Tatum is taking the Celtics out of other opportunities in this stretch run. With Marcus, with Trae Young in front of him, dear God, people talk about barbecue chicken. Oh my God, it's right there. Take the play that's in front of you, get some points on the board, go set your defense, and get a stop.
Make red hot Trae Young work too.
Make him work. Maybe he gets a foul. Maybe you frustrate him, but get a couple of points on the board.
Yep.
So that's one of my takes here. And when the Celtics start to get away from what works, it's this weird obsession with got to get it to Jayson, got to get it to Jayson. And you know what, Tom? I don't care if he draws the double teams. I don't care because you don't have to just say, if he gets the double teams, then you play 4-on-3. Well, if you force him to get the ball and get to the double team, maybe sometimes the double teams work. Maybe you just are starting to get away from looking at the floor and saying, yeah, there's Jayson, but oh my God, I've got 3 good options. Smart layup. He's a great finisher.
Yep.
Great lob thrower.
Yep.
Al's a great corner 3-point shooter. How do you pass up all of those opportunities there for that play? Blows my mind.
Yep.
All right, man. I have just been. People said disappointed dad energy yesterday. I felt like I was going for more like coach yelling at his players energy. Dejounte Murray is coming back, and he let the world know about it. We'll talk about that in just a second. First, this show brought to you by eBay Motors. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same for when it comes to your vehicle. Every part must fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits just right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Tomorrow is going to be a post-game podcast. So sorry, I didn't want to do a post-game podcast tomorrow. I wanted to do a mailbag, but no, the Celtics had to go and mess it up. So post-game podcast tomorrow after, hopefully they close it out in Atlanta. Trae Young is going to have his backcourt mate back. Dejounte Murray is back, and he was excited, Tom. He was very excited on social media, praising God, because God is very, very invested in the outcome of Hawks Celtics. Big sports fan, that God. He's got a hand in all sports. It makes you wonder how he's got time to do anything else. And
there's a lot of sports happening.
Yeah. So, and then he said something about y'all cheating.
God is real. The devil is a lie. Tried to cheat to suspend me. We back to the A. That's the transcript of him talking.
Yes.
The caption for the video, back to the MFA. God, no, I'm a great person. And then fake ass narratives don't hold weight.
So, question.
Tried to play with my character and send me home the wrong way. God, know my body and the ones around. me or even the ones who met me know I stand on real principles and one of the greatest you'll ever come across, and I don't cheat the game.
What the hell is he talking about, man? You bumped the ref. Shut up. You bumped the ref.
Dejounte Murray is talking, right? This is a family podcast. Like, Dejounte Murray is talking, and like, I'm fine with it, honestly. Like, I don't really care. I mean, it's like, look, he's happy. He's happy his team won. Back to the MFA. It's coming back to the MFA. Like, good. Like, sure. Like, he's wrong, but like when people are talking redacted, like you don't always make sense. You're not always right. He's
okay.
Yeah, Dejounte, you bumped
Sure.
the
Sure. Yeah. Sure. You think the NBA looks at him saying cheating and thinks that he's talking about the refs and fines him? Which would be hilarious. That would be the funniest outcome here. Would be fining him for derogatory comments about the officiating.
They should. Like,
they should.
Honestly,
he's clearly talking about the refs. They should fine him.
I have no.
That would be so funny.
I don't care that he's like talking trash.
No,
but he should get fined for this because they didn't cheat him. He bumped a ref very clearly on purpose, stared him down, clearly said something, and that like derogatory language to the ref. Like that's like Dejounte deserved to be suspended. That was a no-brainer suspension. Like, yeah, you should.
Hawks people, everybody in the Hawks side, except for fans, obviously, but all the Hawks people, reporters I talked to, the podcasts, everybody, they were like, yeah, he's going to get suspended for a game. That's just what happens. Everybody, except for I think Shaq. Like, that's it.
Notoriously always correct Shaquille O'Neal.
The real question here is, are they better or worse getting Dejounte Murray back? Because it felt like he's not been all that great defensively.
No.
It feels like the drop coverage has been designed to kind of deal with him and his desire to take mid-range shots and floaters that he hits at a fair, mid-range shots, he hits at a pretty high level, but you'll take Murray mid-range shots over the alternatives because even those are still at like 50-60% versus lobs and putbacks and all that stuff.
So here's the thing, right? We have talked redacted about Trae Young a lot in this series.
Lots of redacted.
About Trae Young. People should hear us off the pod.
Oh man, not redacted off the pod.
Zero redactions. The thing is, like Trae Young, when he's super high usage like this, you are running a lot of risks as the Celtics because he's like, he can score, he can pass, like he can do those things.
And he needs that high usage to get there.
He does. And like, you know what? I don't think it's like a winning strategy, like long term. I don't think it's a winning strategy deep into the playoffs, but it can win you some games.
Yeah.
And it won them game 5. I don't think it's crazy to think that like having Dejounte Murray back like muddies that up a little bit. And honestly, I mean, you go back and watch, right? Like I think generally speaking, Dejounte Murray is a pretty decent defender. Like I think he's generally pretty decent. He's too skinny for a lot of these Celtics players. Like,
yeah,
certainly Tatum, but like, Brogdon is a built dude. Like, Dejounte Murray's really skinny. Like he can get moved aside. I don't think it's crazy to think that Dejounte might not help the Hawks coming back. I mean, like he could, like he's been shooting better than I expected him to shoot in this series. But yeah, I mean, generally speaking, like he has not been a positive. I don't think he's a lot of scoring, but not necessarily a positive.
Here's the fear. I would say, if I'm thinking of it from the Hawks perspective, you just came off a game where Trae Young was, he finished strong, 14 straight points to close the Celtics out.
Talked about how he feels like he's figured some stuff out about the Celtics.
Yeah.
Like if you're a Celtics, he's like, I don't know about
okay.
Yeah.
If Dejounte Murray's on the floor, he's taking shots.
Oh yeah.
In the middle of Trae Young doesn't get all of those shots.
Nope.
Is Dejounte hitting at the same rate as Trae was? Because Trae got hot.
Yep.
And I don't think so. I think we're in a situation here where Murray is going to be like, oh yeah, Trae is feeling it. Let me get in on this action.
Yeah.
And all it takes is one shot away from. We just talked about it with Jaylen Brown. You got a guy that's cooking.
Yep.
And I'm not saying if Jayson Tatum was off the floor, they would have won that game. But I tell you what, Jayson wasn't exactly great down the stretch. And, there's people who might believe, hey, you know what? If for some reason he got like a nosebleed and he couldn't finish the game and it was all on Jaylen, maybe it would have gone a little bit differently and no one would have questioned anything. But regardless, when you got Murray in the game, I'm just saying that some of the things that went right for the Hawks, which is Trae Young just being a menace, and for all of my disrespect about Trae Young, because when I say he's overrated, I do not think he's the guy that can carry a team deep into the playoffs. They had that one run. I don't think you can build around that guy. I still feel the same way. Like he had that awesome game. Doesn't change my overall opinion of him. He had a great game. Tip the cap, all that stuff.
Totally.
Good for him.
Totally.
But you're right. He's such a high usage guy. He's at his best when he's such a high usage guy that does John Collins?
That was what I was going to say. Yep.
Does John Collins go for 20? Does he go for 4 of 9 from 3 without Trae Young making all of those passes? Because a couple of those plays, just take 2 of those drives and put them in Dejounte Murray's hands. That's not the same play. He's not finding the same guy. He's not getting the same shots. DeAndre Hunter getting shots from Trae Young. It's not just Trae missing out on chances to score. Trae Young he had 13 assists. That's dangerous.
Yep.
So I'm not saying, like, obviously Dejounte Murray is a good player and you want fewer good players on the floor, but also the mix is important. And Dejounte in the mix gives the Celtics another guy to attack, another guy that takes some of the flow away. And I think it's not a secret in Atlanta. Those two haven't quite fit all season long. So as from the Celtics side, like, yeah, let's get that little wonky fit back in there and kind of see if it can throw them off again.
There also seems to be this kind of weird galvanizing thing happening when guys get suspended or guys are out for a game in the playoffs. Like, if Joel Embiid goes out for game 4, the Sixers win anyway. Draymond Green goes out, the Warriors win anyway. And I mean, it's like, yeah, Dejounte Murray was out, but like the Hawks replaced him with other NBA players who
Sure.
NBA players are great at basketball. It's like, I think, you'd probably rather have Dejounte than not, but like, I don't know, other NBA players can step up too. And Trae Young stepped up even more in his absence. So like, yeah, I don't know that it's necessarily that is going to be the thing that like, oh man, now we're coming back to Boston for game 7, which I'm not saying we're not. I'm not saying we're not, but like,
I'm going to tell you.
By no means saying we're not. I just don't think DeJounte is going to be the reason if it happens.
My definitive predictions are done for the Celtics right now. I just am not. We are in weirdness world, and anything can happen.
I have something to say about that when we come back, though.
Ooh, Tom throwing to break. I like that. Also, when we come back, we'll talk about our path through the East. We're recording this as Milwaukee and Miami are playing, so I don't know what's happening there other than Milwaukee is up very early in the first quarter. We'll talk about all that next. First, this show brought to you by Ibotta, Ibotta. What's Ibotta? Well, you can earn cash back on every shopping trip. You go grocery shopping, clothing shopping. You can just go to the mall and just kind of mess around. Anything you do, any kind of shopping trip that you go on, Ibotta gives you cash back. Real cash, not points, not fake whatever, bucks, whatever. It's cash, and it's on hundreds of grocery items, personal care, pantry goods. You can either link a loyalty account or upload your receipt after you shop and get your cash back. Super easy. The average Ibotta user earns $120 a year, $120 a year in real cash back. You can use that on your next shopping trip. You can use that cash back to maybe you want to fly to Philadelphia for the second round. Oops, I wasn't supposed to make a definitive prediction. Yeah, fly to Philadelphia for the second round. You can go to dinner, whatever. You can apply it to a grocery order. Ibotta gives you real cash back, not points, not like other apps that give you points that don't really amount to much. With Ibotta, you get the real cash back, so you can get it right into your bank account, your PayPal, or on gift cards. You can earn cash back on hundreds of online brands and retailers too when you start with Ibotta, including Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and more. I know. So go to Ibotta. Search for it in the Google Play or App Store. Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 for just trying Ibotta and using the code Locked On. When you register, just go to the App Store or Google Play Store, download the free Ibotta app, use the code LOCKED. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store. Use the code LOCKED. All right, so Tom, I still think the Celtics are going to get out of this series. Weirdness can happen in Game 6. I still expect the Celtics to win. They should win.
Yeah,
but they should have won this last game. And so you never know what's going to happen. Like I said before, I'm not making a definitive prediction because I just don't trust these guys anymore.
Right. And the point I wanted to make about that is I don't feel bad for my definitive predictions. Like I don't think you should either. I think the Celtics should have because the Celtics should have taken care of business. Like the Celtics should feel bad about these predictions that we made because we were right. They should have beaten this team in 5 games.
I love how we were right about a prediction we were wrong about.
No, we were not wrong about
We were right. We were right. They had them. We were right. If they had
literally, they were up 13 with 6. What more honestly, of a prediction do you want from us?
Right. Honestly, 13 with 6 minutes to go. The spread was 13. They should have covered that spread.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But they're not going to blow this series.
Right.
They're not going to blow this series.
Right.
They're going to play Philly. I've booked my hotel in Philly. I'm going.
Good.
Either I'm going, and I'm not going to go to watch Philly play Atlanta. So, look, we're doing this. So, I'm looking at the score. Miami and Milwaukee. Basically, it's a 1-point game. Early on. Who knows how this is going to go? The Knicks beat the Cavs 4-1. The Cavs just choked.
I legitimately was sitting I was like, man, I don't know who I would pick between Cleveland and Milwaukee. I was like, that was going to be my spicy take because I like Cleveland so much. And now it's like,
People were like, no, John, when I was saying you got to go for that top seed because I kind of didn't want to, deal with Philadelphia and just let somebody else deal with it. Like, no, you don't want to deal with the Cavaliers, man. You don't want to deal with Cleveland. They went out weak. They went out real weak.
They went out sad. Yeah.
It's possible the Heat are going to beat Milwaukee. They're up 3-1. So
is it impossible that Jimmy Butler beats the Knicks?
No, it's not impossible.
I don't think it's impossible.
The Celtics, I still believe in their matchups against Philly.
Absolutely.
The East, I mean, look, I'm pissed that these guys didn't learn the lessons that they went out there and messed around and extended this series. I still feel like they're only extending the series. If they lose the series, it would be an abomination.
It would be franchise changing. Things would change.
There would be you would have to look at seriously look at what the hell you have.
Yes.
Because you cannot have this team play this well up 3-1 and then choke that series away. Mm-hmm. You would have to have a franchise changing conversation because that would be just a disaster. I do not expect that disaster.
I don't either. I'm known to be fairly negative, and I do not expect that.
Joel Embiid still hobbled, even though the Celtics screwed up and gave him a couple extra days. If he's not 100%, the matchups look even better.
And that's a 1 to 2 week injury, right? That's what the prognosis is. So, yeah.
So these guys better look up and see the opportunity in front of them because God damn it, it's right there. It's right there. The Hawks, you screwed up. You're playing one extra game. It should be one extra game. Okay?
Yes.
Philly, you should beat them.
Yep.
Knicks or Miami, Cinderella run. You should beat them.
Yep.
Does anybody in the West, we're watching these playoffs, does anybody in the West scare you? No. Memphis, I'm watching here. Memphis,
the Warriors. The
The
Warriors
Warriors,
are scary.
sure.
I mean, like, you could that's the funny thing about the West is you could look at the West and it's all the OGs who should scare you.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant, yeah, I mean the Suns, they're like who knows like how cohesive they'll be by that point, but Kevin Durant should scare you. The Lakers are not a perfect basketball team, but LeBron James should scare you a little bit.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's like the OG teams. Those are the ones that it's
Steph
like,
Curry. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
I mean, my thing with the Celtics is like okay, you deserve like so I wasn't game 3, you lose that one. Sure. Like you said it, you said it well, I think. Like a team is going to get hot sometimes, no problem. That happening twice, not great, right? Like but Trey did get really hot down the stretch. The Celtics still should have won that game, and they deserved to get kind of like fricasseed after that game, right? Like they deserved to get kind of like just roasted by everyone.
Yeah.
And they did. Like, and I think if they win game 6, it's basically what's going to happen is it's going to be this kind of like when you're young and like your parents tell you to do something and you don't do it, and then they yell at you and then you do it, and it's like you don't get any credit for that. You don't get any credit for like for doing the thing after you got yelled at for not doing it.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to kind of be the vibe. Is this kind of like, well, they won. It felt gross, but hey, they're moving on. It's the Sixers. No problem. Like if that's what happens, if they win in game 6, I mean, especially if they win big in game 6, then it's like gross, but okay, whatever. Fine. Yeah. Get to work.
Right.
Get to work on Philly. It's
because then you got to move forward. You got to move forward. Refocus.
That's all they can do. Like that's what everybody talked about post game. And like honestly, as annoying as it is to hear everybody say, like, well, we got to move on to the next game. We got to move on to the next game. They are right. There's nothing they can do about game 5 now. It's over. Like they screwed up and like they deserve to hear they deserve to get yelled at for a couple days about it. Like, what are they
angry Greek yelling at them for 40 minutes in the podcast? They deserve that.
But like, what are they supposed to do? They have to move on. Dwelling on it isn't going to help anything. So yeah, here we are.
So I just want them to understand. And this is Al Horford, Blake Griffin, Malcolm Brogdon. Hey guys, okay, we screwed up, but understand where we are. Beat this team. Philly, we got them. The road is there for us. The champion. I mean, that's it. Boston should win a championship this season. They should win the championship this season. It's theirs if they want to go get it. Just go get it.
Yeah, I mean, and weird stuff happens, right? Like,
sure, yeah, of course.
Weird stuff happens. Like, like it's still early in the playoffs, but like you just don't get that many chances to win a title. And like everybody on this team knows that at this point. Like everybody who's part of the core has been here for a while. They know how hard it is to win a championship. Derek White hasn't been here that long. He went to the finals last year and they didn't win. Like he knows. Like Malcolm Brogdon's been on several teams. He knows. Al Horford's been on a million teams. He knows. Like they know the stakes. So like, all right, let's see it, guys. Let's see what happens. Let's see it.
All right. Tomorrow's post-game pod. So Tom, thank you for hopping on.
Appreciate you, man.
We approach all of this stuff like it's life or death. That our very existence depends on the Celtics winning and losing. And that's the beauty of sports. We get to do that, and then we face our days. But then every once in a while, perspective smacks you in the face. And Celtics VP of Public Relations, Heather Walker, passed away on Wednesday morning after a battle with brain cancer for a couple of years. Now, I'm not going to pretend I knew Heather very well. She was there when I started out on the beat, and she was just great to me. She, we got to know each other a little bit, certainly not as much as other people on the beat who had been there for a while. She'd been with the Celtics for a little while. But man, she was just always so great. So great to me, so accommodating, so sweet, so nice, so helpful. And after her diagnosis, you got to see the strength, the power of who she is, who she was, and her desire to help others and make the world a better place. The world is a worse place today because we lost Heather Walker. My thoughts go out to her family, her husband, her 2 daughters, the Celtics family who loved her very much. This is a tough day for everybody. No matter how long you knew Heather, you felt like you knew her very well. We will definitely miss Heather Walker. The world will miss Heather Walker. Good people like that are tough to lose, especially at 52. So thoughts out to her and her family. I want to thank everybody for listening and being part of my family every day when I do a podcast. I do podcasts for everybody, hoping to make your days a little bit better. So hopefully this journey that we're on, as frustrating as it might be, makes everybody's life a little bit better. And hopefully the Celtics cooperate and make us smile a little bit too. But hug your families, man, because you just don't know what's going to happen. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time here on the Locked On Celtics podcast.